Hey everyone, quick question. Picture the fruit of the Loom logo, that bunch of fruit on your underwear tags. What's behind the fruit? Did you picture a brown, woven cornucopia? A horn of plenty? If you said yes, you're not alone. Millions of people, including me, would swear on their life that cornucopia was there, but it never was. This is a perfect example of your brain playing tricks on you. This is a false memory. Let's start simple. A false memory is when your brain vividly recalls something that either never happened or happened very differently from how you remember it. It's not just forgetting, it's confidently remembering a detail, event, or experience that's inaccurate or entirely made up. You may say it's Mandela effect, but it's not. Mandela effect is a type of false memory, but what makes it special is that large groups of people share the same incorrect memory. The term came from people vividly remembering Nelson Mandela dying in prison in the 1980s, even recalling news footage and speeches from his funeral, when he actually passed away in 2013. Meet Dr. Elizabeth Loftus. She is one of the most influential cognitive psychologists in the world, especially known for her groundbreaking work on false memories. She's a distinguished professor at the University of California, named one of the 100 most eminent psychologists of the 20th century by the APA. Her work is backed by rigorous experiments, not just theory. She spent decades showing how easily memory can be manipulated. Loftus has shown that memory is not a perfect recording device. Instead, it's reconstructive, meaning every time we recall something, we rebuild it, and that process can be influenced by suggestion, emotion, or misinformation. She said, "Just because someone tells you something with confidence, detail, and emotion doesn't mean it actually happened." Okay, but why our brains do that? It's one that's fascinated neuroscientists and psychologists for decades. But the answer is simple: our brains are not designed to record reality like a video camera. They're built to interpret, compress, and reconstruct information in ways that help us survive and make decisions quickly, even if that means occasionally getting the facts wrong. Dr. Elizabeth Loftus and neurologist Dr. Mark L. Gordon, and Dr. Mark L. Gordon is a highly respected neurologist and researcher based in New York, USA. He's known for his work in behavioral neurology and neuropsychiatry, with a strong focus on Alzheimer's disease, mild cognitive impairment, and vascular dementia. Back to our question, these two scientists explained. Every time you recall something, your brain rebuilds it from fragments, like piecing together a puzzle. The more often you recall it, the more chances there are for errors to creep in. Our memory is reconstructive, not reproductive. We store the gist, not the details. Instead of remembering exact events, we often store the general meaning or emotional tone. This helps us make fast decisions, but it also opens the door to misremembering specifics. Our brains fill in gaps automatically, like if you hear words like rest, drowsy, and peaceful, your brain might assume sleep was part of the list, even if it wasn't. That's a classic example of semantic association leading to false memory. You see that even stress, trauma, or even someone else's confident retelling can reshape how we remember something. That's why eyewitness testimony can be so unreliable. When we get new memories, they interfere with old ones. This is called interference, where newer experiences overwrite or blend with older ones, creating hybrid memories that feel real but aren't. So, is this a flaw? Not exactly. It's more like a mental shortcut. Our brains prioritize speed and meaning over perfect accuracy. In most cases, that's incredibly useful, but in high-stakes situations, like legal testimony or trading decisions, it can backfire. In the 1990s, cognitive psychologist Dr. Elizabeth Loftus conducted a groundbreaking study where participants were told 4 stories from their childhood, 3 true, 1 false. The false one? That they had been lost in a shopping mall as a child, cried, and were eventually rescued by an older adult. What happened next was astonishing. 25% of participants not only accepted the false story as true, but also added vivid details, like what the mall looked like, how they felt, and who found them. These memories felt real to them, even though they were entirely fabricated. This experiment showed how suggestion and context can implant memories that never happened. This experiment only leads us to further questions. Can false memory be implanted in your brain? Psychologists like Dr. Elizabeth Loftus have shown that simply suggesting a plausible event, especially in a trusted setting like therapy or family storytelling, can lead people to form vivid, detailed memories of something that never happened. In one study, researchers worked with participants' parents to invent fake childhood events, like being lost in a mall. After a few sessions, over half of the participants believed the false event had really happened, and even added their own imagined details. They even conducted it in mice. At MIT, neuroscientists Steve Ramirez, Sue Liu, and Susumu Tonegawa used a technique called optogenetics to implant false memories directly into the brains of mice. They identified the neurons responsible for a real memory, like exploring a safe environment, then artificially activated those neurons while the mice were in a scary setting. Later, the mice behaved as if the safe place had been dangerous, because their brains had linked fear to the wrong memory trace. Says Dr. Susumu Tonegawa, whether it's a false or genuine memory, the brain's neural mechanism underlying the recall is the same. He means that when your brain recalls a memory, it activates the same neural pathways whether the memory is real or false. In other words, your brain doesn't have a built-in truth detector for memories. If a memory feels vivid and emotionally charged, your brain treats it as real, even if it was implanted, distorted, or imagined. Now imagine with me your brain as a storyteller, one that doesn't just recall the past, but rewrites it every time you press play. Now picture this: a memory keeps surfacing, it feels vivid, emotional, maybe even haunting, but deep down, you're not sure it ever happened. What if your brain is replaying a scene that was never real to begin with? This means your brain may be caught in a loop of reconstruction, not recollection. Each time you revisit that memory, your mind isn't just replaying it, it's reshaping it. And if the original event was vague, emotional, or suggested by someone else, your brain might be filling in the blanks with imagined details, making it feel more real over time. This is the essence of constructive memory. The brain uses the same neural machinery, especially the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex, to recall real events and fabricate false ones. That's why even uncertain memories can feel vivid, emotional, and convincing. So if a memory keeps replaying but feels unstable, it's not a sign of weakness, it's a sign that your brain is doing what it's designed to do: build meaning from fragments. The key is to approach it with curiosity, not fear, and ask, does this really happen? But it's not always harmful. False memories often arise from the brain's constructive nature. We don't just recall facts, we rebuild experiences to make sense of the world. This reconstruction can help us with fill in gaps in fragmented memories, allowing smoother decision-making. Mentally rehearse future situations by drawing on the general outline of past experiences, even if some of the finer details aren't quite accurate. Like when a person misremembers a past success as more dramatic than it was, this boosts confidence and encourages risk-taking in new challenges. Even in therapy, restructured memories, even if not fully accurate, can help people reframe trauma and move forward. Think of a vivid childhood memory: the smell, the colors, the feeling. Now ask yourself, what if it never happened? What if your brain built it from fragments, stories, or emotion? Let's test it. Comment below and let's see how confident you are about a certain memory. If a memory can lie, what does that do to you? If you ever reached this point, thank you, my dear friend, for your consideration, and thank you for your time. See you in the next episode, and until then, take care of yourselves.